If you click and hold this button, you will see several alternatives for primitive shape tools. First is the rectangle tool. We can create rectangle with the rectangle tool. But before we do anything, let us first make sure that the fill and stroke color is set to default, which is black and white. To do that quickly, simply click this small button or use the keyboard shortcut D. Okay, now with rectangle tool, you can create rectangle simply by click and drag in the artboard. The rounded rectangle tool is used to create a rounded corner rectangle. To do this, simply select the tool by clicking on the button and click drag in the viewport. Now while we still hold the mouse, we're not releasing it yet. We can press and hold the up arrow on the keyboard to make the corner more rounded and press the down arrow to make the corner sharper. Now in previous Adobe Illustrator, this is the only way to do rounded corner. Now in Adobe Illustrator CC, these tools kind of redundant. Why? Because now shapes created by either of these tools can be edited on the fly to change their corner. You see these small dots near each corner. You can simply use these to change the corner radius. So even you create an ordinary rectangle, you can always change it to rounded corner later. If you want to create a perfect square, meaning the width and the height are the same value, you can use the Shift button while hold and dragging the tool. Okay, another useful keyboard shortcut is to use Alt key while dragging. This will make the first mouse click that you make considered as the center of the rectangle. When creating the rectangle, holding Shift and Alt together will make the rectangle a perfect square and also make the center of it at the position of your original mouse click. So you can use the combination of Shift and Alt together depending on your needs. The next primitive shape we're going to cover is the ellipse tool. With this, you can create ellipsoid shapes and also a perfect circle. To create a perfect circle, we can use the Shift key as before. So click and drag, then without releasing the mouse, press and hold Shift. As we can see, the shape should be a perfect circle. You can also use the Alt key to make it centered at the position of your first mouse click. Okay, now we're going to move on to Polygon tool. This tool will create a shape with a certain amount of side in uniform length. To add more side, we can press the up arrow, and to reduce the side number, we use the down arrow. We can use Shift key modifier to straighten the orientation of the polygon. For this tool, the Alt key has no effect as it is defaulted to use the mouse click as the center of the shape. The Star tool lets you create stars. You can use up and down arrow to control the amount of spikes on the star shapes. Just like in Polygon, the Shift key will straighten the orientation of the star shape and the Alt has no effect. Next is the Flare tool, which can be used to create lens flare effect. Personally, I almost never use this tool in a real work scenario, but if you want to use it, this is how you use the Flare tool. First, click and drag to control the position and the size of the big flare. Next, click and drag again to define the position of the small flare. Okay. Another method to create primitive shapes is to use the click-release method. In this way, we can specify certain value by typing them. So let's say I want to create a square of 100 by 100 pixels. First, we click on the rectangle tool and simply click and release. Notice we get this type in field for the width and the height. Click in here and type 100, then press Tab key in the keyboard and type 100. Now, if you want to go back to previous field, you can press Shift and Tab. Press Enter and now we have a square of 100 by 100 pixels. We can do this also for the other primitive tools, okay? Now using this method, as we notice, we'll make the location where we clicked as the left top corner of the object, not the center. If we want to make the location of the mouse click as the center of the object, we can press and hold Alt key first, then click and release. Notice after we type in the value and press Enter or hit OK, the object is centered in the mouse click location. I like to end this video with a little tip which helped me a lot when positioning newly created object on the fly. Now this technique can be used for every primitive shapes. But I found this super helpful when I need to create and position circle shapes. So let's try this with a circle. Go to Ellipse tool or L for shortcut and create an ellipse. Without releasing the mouse button, press and hold Shift to make the ellipse become a perfect circle. Now while doing this, press and hold spacebar also. By doing this, we can move around the circle to any position that we like. Release the spacebar and we can continue our circle creation again.